So we have some great news today. Hoyo showed off the upcoming weapons in version 4.1 and there's this HP sword. So why is this good news? Because if you're a Nilou player, you'd know she didn't really have much HP swords to choose from. There's her signature weapon, which is obviously perfect for her, and technically you can get a very small amount of HP from Primordial Jade Cutter, but everyone else, you basically just only had some EM weapons, and this limitation was a big reason why a lot of people were put off about Nilou, and they found her hard to build unless you pulled her signature weapon. Obviously, as we know, HP is a big part of Nilou's kit, since the higher her HP, the more she can buff the whole team's bloom damage. But I gotta say there's an immediate disclaimer here because, as we can read here, this weapon is an event exclusive 4-star weapon. That means unfortunately this is gacha only. So if you do want some spoilers, my calcs put it in between Iron Sting and Nilou's signature weapon, but I would say it's more closer to the Iron Sting than it is to the key. But let me get into how the weapon works. So how does the weapon work? So it gives HP, which is the main thing. And in fact, in my calcs, you can see you get over 6k HP from this weapon substat. So close to 70k HP now with a decent build. These calcs have 7 HP% substat, so 15% HP on your flower and 20% on your feather. So you might even be able to get 70k HP with some insane artifacts, which is like a dream for some of you guys without a signature. Actually, when Nilou first came out, it was hard for players without the key to even get 60k HP. And now we've got 20% from Voracash's Glow and even more now with this new weapon. But it has this EM passive and it's a bit confusing how it will exactly work actually. So just a disclaimer, I just have to try decipher how it works from the wording. When the wielder is healed, so obviously everyone plays Bloom with some healer, whether it's Kokomi or Barbara or Baiju. So when your Nilou uses her skill or burst, she converts the healing stacks into EM and some energy. And assuming your Nilou got some form of healing 3 times, she gets full stacks. And this weapon example is only refinement rank 1, and you can see both the text for EM and energy numbers are purple, meaning they should increase with refines, and R1 max stacks they should be 120 EM and 6 energy, and most weapons double their passives at refine 5, so this could be 240 EM and 12 energy if you somehow do manage to get refine 5. However, there might be some uptime issues. We can see it only lasts 10 seconds and it can activate every 15 seconds, so there's already downtime there. It also won't actually do anything unless Nilou is healed, and for most of us playing Nilou, you use her skill early in the setup before she even gets healed. Like, I'm watching my footage here, paying attention to this timer, and I feel like I'm only getting the buff once each chamber. So I believe I should be getting the buff here at 19 seconds from using her burst, and that lasts 10 seconds. And I finish the chamber quickly after that. And then again in chamber 2, I won't get the buff this first cycle. And I believe it's only now at 22 seconds that I'll be getting the buff. And at this point the chamber is almost over anyway. Like in chamber 3, even if you do these alternate setups where you use Kokomi's skill early, at best you probably only get 1 stack before you use Nilou's skill there. Obviously, if your account is weaker than mine and you're in fights longer, you can probably get an extra cycle with the buff active, but you're probably going from 1 in 3 to 2 out of 4, so it's still not great. Lastly, and I'll get into this later, but it's not even clear from the wording that this works with overhealing, and you can see Ocean Huge Clam specifically mentions overflow healing. So when Kokomi uses her burst and starts healing the whole team, who knows if this passive actually works for that. In conclusion, although this HP substat is very good and this EM and energy is nice, it's probably not the most consistent passive. So how strong is the weapon? So these calcs use good builds, not the best builds but not the worst. And it's important for me to show you this because, and I'll get into this later, but the value of this extra HP on Nilou depends on how much EM and reaction damage your characters already have. Basically, the more EM your characters already have, the less value you'll get out of this new weapon. Also, I'm not going to give damage splits between each character because, as we know, bloom reactions depend so much on your team, your execution, the enemies you're fighting, how many there are, and how you move towards them. There's so many factors, so instead I'm just going to give individual character increases. So I start off with the Iron Sting bloom numbers, and in comparison, the Dockhand's assistant numbers with 33% uptime, so in a 30-second fight, you're probably only getting the buff for 10 seconds. So because of this extra HP but the lower overall EM compared to Iron Sting, the results show it should be a bit worse for Nilou, but a 5 to 10% increase on your teammates depending on their EM. And it's actually quite a lot, but potentially being weaker for Nilou can be a bit annoying because, as we know, Nilou can do lots of reactions in Bloom teams, especially when you play a double Dendro team well. And you can see my Kole in this example has low EM, only 220, but most of that is in the team buffs. So that's why her increase is a lot bigger than the rest of the teammates. This would be similar to if you're playing something like a crit Xingqiu or a crit Yelan instead of Kole. Actually, they might have even less EM since you don't get Dendro Resonance then. This Nahida uses EM crit main stats. And you can see if I remove one of the EM stats, so for example if I'm doing EM Dendro crit, then the increase of the new weapon goes up closer to almost 6%. Similarly, this Kokomi uses a triple EM Flower of Paradise Lost set, and if you lower her EM, like say for example if you're doing EM healing bonus, you can see it goes from 5.01% to 5.26% increase. Again, these examples all show how the benefits of this weapon really do depend on how much EM your characters already have. But overall, these numbers aren't changing that much from 5% because these characters probably have a lot of EM regardless. If I change Kokomi to a hybrid Ocean Hued Clan build, so removing all the bonus you get from Flower of Paradise Lost, then you can see it gets closer to 6%. But this is all still weaker than the key of Khaj-Nisut. Here's my signature weapon calcs, and here's the key comparing with Iron Sting, and you can see how it compares with the new weapon at R1. You can see it's about 9-10% better than the new weapon on Nahida and Kokomi, and then closer to 20% on my crit Kole. So you can see Dockhand's assistant is kind of in between both weapons, but Dockhand's assistant is a smaller upgrade from Iron Sting than the key is an upgrade to Dockhand's. This is because the key gives more HP and more EM to Nilou and a lot of EM to the team. You can see I've got 417 EM to Nilou and 149 EM to the rest of the team, as well as the overall Ascension 4 reaction bonus being a lot higher and reaching the cap. And you can see the extra EM to Nilou is actually very significant, and key is just way better than either weapon for her, and it's very hard to beat. In conclusion, using these calcs, considering most people use Iron Sting at the moment, it's a decent upgrade over the previous 4-star weapon option, so as long as there isn't any huge issues with the passive working in practical gameplay, your results should be similar to this and it should be a decent upgrade. The thing is though, is that you're never guaranteed to get one of these weapons. 4-star weapons on the weapon banner are not guaranteed, and you could be getting any one of these weapons. Here's a gacha rate calculator. Say for example you're going for a 5-star weapon. Let's put 70 pulls for now. You can see the soft pity starts around 63-64 pulls, but putting 70 pulls in, you only have about a 40% chance of getting the 5-star weapon that you want. Now if I change this to a 4-star weapon on that banner, you can see even getting just one copy is only 82% chance, which isn't even guaranteed. And even getting more than 2 copies, you're more likely to have gotten that signature weapon than you are to get Refine 3. And say for example, if you're just trying to snipe this weapon, say 30 pulls into the banner, you can actually see it's basically a 50-50 at this point just to get even one copy, and good luck getting any more than one. So in conclusion, even though it's a 4-star weapon, that doesn't automatically make it more free-to-play accessible than her signature weapon, the key. And ultimately, it can come down to your luck. And you could argue if you do end up not getting lucky and burning a lot of pulls on this banner, you could argue you might as well have just gone for the key. But obviously it's your account, it's your risk to take. It's still an upgrade over Iron Sting, so you have to evaluate whether you want to go for this weapon or whether you want to go for the key. But hopefully you found this video helpful. Thanks for watching.